All right, we are moving on to testing this verify unique email function here. I'm actually going to copy and paste my unique username tests because I think we should be able to make it work. All right, so verify unique email should return false if user with email exists. So we're going to change this here to email, and we'll change this here to Callie @gmail.com. All right, so then we are going to mock the resolved value from find user by email. We'll do user, and then we will await verify unique email, and we will pass in the email. I spelled unique wrong, and we expect that find user by email and find user by email to have been called with email. All right, so I think that one's been fixed. Let's go ahead and fix this one then. So let's do verify unique email should return true if a user with email is not found. So let's rewrite this. We're going to be passing in an email. So let's pass in potato@gmail.com. We will be mocking find user by email with undefined, and then we will verify unique email, and we will pass in our potato@gmail.com variable. We expect the result to be true, and we expect that find user by email has been called and has been called with our email. All right, let's run our tests and see how we did. Awesome, so those two passed, so that's pretty good. So we can go ahead and move on. All right, our next function that we are testing here is the sign up function. So let's start writing that test. So sign up. All right, now we have to kind of figure out what we're testing. So here we're passing in a sign up DTO. We're verifying that it's a unique username and a unique email. If it's not a unique username, we're throwing a bad request exception. If it's not a unique email, we're throwing a bad request exception. We're then hashing the password. If it is unique, then we are hashing the password, we're creating the user, and then we're returning the access token. Okay, so overall here, we're gonna say should return an access token if user name and email are unique. All right, so that's the case that we're going to start out with. We're going to say that we're going to pass in a sign up DTO where the user name and email are both unique, and then we are going to return an access token. Okay, so you'll see that we're calling a lot of different methods within this function. Okay, and we're not actually going to be testing those because we tested those already, right? So we're going to mock all of the responses. We're just testing that this function, its logic works out how we intended. Okay, so first we have to do our input. So our input is going to be const sign up DTO, and that's going to be as sign up DTO. So we're going to have a name, Callie Stoscup. We're going to have a username, C Stoscup, we are going to have a password, just be fake password, and we're gonna have an email, which is going to be calliestoscup@gmail.com. Okay, I believe that is everything. Let me go to the definition. Name, email, username, password. Perfect. Okay, so we have our sign up DTO. Then we need to start kind of mocking everything as it comes. So we have is unique username. We're gonna have const is. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. So here we are doing our mock resolved value. So let's give that a try. Okay, so we're awaiting, so we'll need to be the resolved value versus return value. Okay, so we're gonna say service dot, and then we're gonna do is unique, nope, verify unique username dot oh, I guess we don't need to because we'll actually just pass these in because they're in the service. Okay, that was silly of me. Okay, so that's actually going to work, but we need to mock the user service there. Okay, so that's where we will, nope. Sorry, doing this live. All right. So we are going to basically say that users service dot find user by username dot mock resolved value is going to be undefined. Okay, and then the email is going to be undefined. And in those cases, then these variables here will be true and true. So we're not, this will be true, so we'll skip over it. This will be true, so we'll skip over it. So then we will hash the password, okay? So then in order to hash the password, we're gonna need to mock bcrypt. So we're gonna pull that down, okay? So then now here we'll have our hashed password be mocked, okay? So then this will change the property password to be the hash password, and then we're going to create the user. So that's what we're going to need to mock next. So we're going to say user service dot create user dot mock resolved value, and then let's go ahead and make that. So const user is going to be equal to ID, let's say 1, and then the rest of this. But this is going to be hashed fake password. And then this is going to be as user. All right, so then this create user, when we call it, we're going to be returning the user. Okay. Then create access token will be called. So let's take a look at what needs to be mocked in there. And it looks like the JWT service needs to be mocked there. So we're going to pull these in. I'm just trying to, so what is, okay, so it's not passing in a secret. So it's going to just, we just need this and this. Okay. So then we need to also have the token, which is going to just be a fake JWT, and then we're going to be mocking the JWT service here. So when this create access token is called, then the JWT service will automatically here return token. Okay, so now we can actually do our const result is equal to await service dot, and I totally forgot at this point what we're testing, sign up. And then we will pass in our sign up DTO, and we expect that the result is going to equal token. Hopefully that makes sense. We'll go through it again if it doesn't pass, and we'll see. And woohoo, it did pass. Okay, so let's go through it anyway. So here we are in the line 216. We are calling the service function sign up, and we're passing in our sign up DTO. So this is as if a Callie Stoves cup with the typed in plain text password is trying to sign up. Okay, then what's going to happen is verify unique username is going to be called to determine if it's a unique username. Because we have mocked the find user by username function undefined, then it will return true here. Same with the find user by username is mocked as undefined, so this will be true here. So we're going to skip over these lines here. Then we'll go to the hash password. We mocked the bcrypt hash method to return this hashed fake password. So that's what we'll return. Then we will create the user, which we went ahead and mocked to return just our user function, our user object here. And then it's going to actually create an access token with that user. And so we went ahead and mocked then the JWT. So then we said that it's going to result in this token, fake token that we gave, and it did. Okay, so now we can add our other expect statements on here about like what all has been called. Okay, and so we're just gonna kind of follow through this thing. So first we expect user service dot find user by username to have been called. Okay, and then we expect that user service, user service dot find user by email, I'm getting ahead of myself here, username to have been called with, and then let's go look. So we're calling it within this verify unique username, and we are going to be calling it with the username. So that's going to be signupdto.username. All right, so let's try this first and see if that is what is happening, and it is. So yay. So then now we can repeat the same thing, but we're moving on to the next part of it, which is going to be verifying it's a unique email. So in that process, the user service is going to be called. The find user by email is going to have been called. Okay, now let's put what it's going to be called with. And it's going to be called with the signupdto.email. All right, let's rerun our test and make sure that that worked. Awesome. Okay, so now we're through these two parts. Okay, and because we're through those, we're also through that. So the next thing is the hashed password. Okay, so we expect bcrypt hash to have been called. I'm going to run the test just to make sure I wrote that correctly, and it looks like I did. Okay, and then we expect bcrypt hash to have been called with, and that is going to be with user with signupdto.password. All right, let's run it to make sure that makes sense. Oops. And it has not. All right, so let's go look. This .hash password signupdto password. All right, so let's go up to hash password. So we're expected hashed fake password. Let's try that. I'm a little confused as to why it's saying expected that I would be calling it. Let's try again. So the issue I see is that we're calling bcrypt hash with the password and the salt rounds, which is hard-coded as 10. So that would be sign up DTO password and 10. I'm a little bit confused by the way I'm failing the test, because it's saying that it should be sign up DTO. It's saying it received fake password 10, but that is what I thought that we were saying here. So let me just hard code it. Interesting. Okay, but sign up DTO password is fake password. Let's try this again. I'm wondering if what's happening is, you can see it's changing it here. I'm wondering if it's, and because we called the result up here, it's already changed it. I think that's probably what's happening. So I think it's going to be fine to write it with fake password. But I guess that's a good, it's good to know that that is how it works, because I think I might have written my code differently in order to make that not pop up and fail. So interesting. Okay, so that was our bcrypt hash. So now we're through this portion. So now we need to look at expect user service dot create user to have been called. And we expect user service dot create user to have been called with, and it looks like sign up DTO. I'm going to put that in because at this point sign up DTO has been changed. So perfect. Okay, that's why this needs to be fake password, because sign up DTO is changed with the new password. Okay, and then expect user service dot, and then let's go look at create access token to see what we're calling in there, the JWT service. So we expect JWT service dot sign async to have been called, and then we expect JWT service dot sign async to have been called with, and what is it called with? The payload, which is going to be sub sign up DTO dot, nope, user dot ID. All right, and then let's rerun this test. And perfect. All right, so we are doing good, but this is only sign up if it works. So now at this point, we need to look at our other edge cases here. Okay, so now we will need to look up sign up, but if it doesn't work in terms of we have a non-unique password. Okay, so I'm going to just copy this, and we're gonna have to make a lot of edits, but that is okay. Should throw an error that username already exists. Okay, so our sign up DTO, we'll have that, that's fine. We'll never get to the point where we are creating a user, so we can get rid of that. We won't get to the point, I guess we will get to the point where we're doing the email. Oh wait, so let's go back to this. Because this, when we find the email, what'll be user is what comes back because we found username. Okay, because of that, we will never mock our password. We won't create a service, we won't create a token, and we won't have a result. So that means that none of this will happen, and this won't happen. Okay, so I am at this point going to go look up my syntax for where I'm throwing an error. So I'll go into projects, service spec, and let's go take a look. We're looking for the syntax for when we throw an error. So here it is. And it's this one, which I should just be writing over and over, so I stop looking for it. But okay, so service dot sign up, and then we are passing in the sign up DTO, and we expect it to throw a bad request exception. And specifically, we expect it to throw the bad request exception. Username already exists. I don't know if this is how it works. Seems like probably not. Let's see if that works. All right, failed. All right, so let's comment out the stuff about emails. All right, and let's just try this again. All right, so that passed. Interesting. All right, so let me clear this and call it again. Okay, so it is calling the username, but it should also call the email, in my opinion, because we're not throwing the error until after. But it looks like it's not calling it. Let me see if I uncomment this. It looks like it's throwing the error before it calls it. So you know what I'm gonna do anyway? I'm gonna actually move this up because I don't actually see the need to call and verify the unique email if the email is not even true. So I don't actually even want that called. So this is kind of a good point that we don't need to be calling. We don't need to do more work if we already have a bad username. All right, so perfect, we passed that test. So now let's go ahead and copy this, and we'll do the same thing for email. Should throw an error that email doesn't exist. Okay, so we will be mocking. So find user by username will come back as undefined. All right, but then we want to still find user by email. Mock resolved value is going to be user. Okay, and then this should be email. Already exists. And then this should be here. I'm going to just comment that out and take a look first. Okay, and now I'm going to comment this back in. So the reason is I'm a little bit confused because username does come first. That is tested first. So I do think that those should be, okay, called. And so now what we want to do is we want to do the same thing but with email. right, find user by email. All right, and then let's run this again. Failed. Find user by email. It's interesting because it definitely, I feel like, should be called with the email. So let's go ahead and let's console log user here and call it again. So now I feel like we're just having something weird happening. Okay, so verify unique email. Is called, and we get the user. Well, let's comment out the rest of the tests, because these could be all right. Let's try that now. See, to me, it is called because we are in here. So find user by email to have been called. All right, so let me comment this out. What's failing? User service. All right. Well, I am going to, I think, take a break here, and because this has already been a long video and my brain doesn't really understand what's wrong, I'm going to give my brain a little bit of a minute, and then we'll come back and try to tackle this. All right, see you in the next one.